welcome back to Mornings Don't Have to Suck, your go-to AM motivation and mindset podcast to start your day without the dread. In the short time we have together today, you might just learn something new about yourself and how to approach your day from a new and clever perspective. I am your host, Kaylin, founder of Live Your Clever Life Coaching, and we'll go ahead and jump right into it today. As usual, I have a topic for you that maybe you think about, maybe you don't. I know a lot of us just go through the motions or get in the habit or focus on one thing as we go about our days. So I like to open up our day with a little bit something different, hopefully, and to give you some perspective or to give you a little push or motivation to maybe change your approach for the day so that you get a better overall experience. So as usual, like I said, we'll jump right into it. Today we are going to talk about what you're living your life for. And I know that sounds kind of like, ma'am, what? The reason I phrase it like that is because I'm going to pose it as a question, but oftentimes I don't think we really think about why we do the things that we do, how we do it, and like our ultimate goal with our entire being, right? I know it's go to school, get a job, get married, have kids. Beyond that, we are human and we have way more capabilities than just XYZ, right? So what are you living your life for? And follow up to that, are you living it for life or are you living it per expectations and or per expectations of others? I touched on this in a previous episode around like how it depends on how you were raised, how you feel about certain things, cultural beliefs, all of that. So if I touch on anything and you're like, well, that wasn't my experience, know that we all have different experiences, right? But this is a glimpse into maybe how I have lived, how somebody else you know has lived in the past. And it's just good to expand your horizons, understand what other people maybe have gone through. So again, who and what are you living for? I know for my parents out there, not my specific parents, but you all out there who are parents, oftentimes you do a lot for your children and you do things to make sure that they have a good overall experience, right? For those non-parents out there, maybe you are more focusing on raising yourself, raising your pets, making sure that you are covered, making sure you're accomplishing things, XYZ. I do not think a lot of us think about this enough, because if we were to take the conscious thought once a day, once a week, once a month, whatever it may be, and we wrote down 5 things that we are living for, our overall perspective and approach to life would drastically change. Here's why. When we have a reason or a motivation behind something, we often show up with a little bit more excitement, a little bit more oomph, a little bit more, I can do this, a little bit more motivation, like I said. When we don't have a focus, when we are just going to go, we can't necessarily expect ourselves to check the boxes of the things that we're wanting to achieve in the back of our minds if we're not keeping them at the forefront. Something to think about. This is not something I've known for a very long time. This is not an approach that I've taken for a very long time. But after I started coaching, I realized that it becomes very clear when and why and how we do things if you get to know, your mindset, how you show up for yourself, and when you know what you are living for and what you are waking up every day for. It is so easy, especially in today's world, to wake up and not feel like there's much to live for. And if you've ever felt that way before, know that you are not alone, but also know that there's so much more living to do than we're ever aware of. So, something to think about. Transitioning a little bit into keeping the same topic, of course, but rolling it into how are you making your decisions? What are you basing those decisions in? Do you base them in your own values, in your own feelings, in your own goals? Or do you base it on what other people think or what other people might think? And I know a lot of us want to be like, well, obviously for myself, but in those moments when you're getting dressed, are you getting dressed because you want to look and feel good? Or are you getting dressed because you don't want to be judged by other people? Are you putting on your favorite outfit because it's your favorite outfit? Or are you putting on an outfit because somebody once told you you looked good in it? Are you attending that event because you want to and because you're interested in the topic and because you know it'll be good for stepping out of your comfort zone? Or are you going because you think it'll look good? These are the thoughts that I recommend you start having, because when you pull away from I wonder what they will think, or I will do this because then they will think this, you realize that regardless of what you do, regardless of what you think somebody might think about you, you are probably not right. You're probably not correct. They're going to think what they want to think regardless of all of your efforts to preset yourself per what you think their expectations are. You cannot read people's minds as much as we would love to. We cannot. So make sure, my biggest piece of advice in this world that we live in, and especially if you are someone who struggles with sticking to things for themselves, do the things that you do and push for the things that you push for, and make the decisions based on what you want in your life. Not what your mom's going to think, not what your grandma's going to think, not what your best friend's going to think, not what your arch nemesis is going to think. None of it matters. You'll never truly know what they think. Some people will voice it, but you will never truly know what they think. And it is a true waste of time trying to anticipate it, trying to figure it out, trying to dodge it. It's not worth it. Your time is so much better spent focusing on how you can be more in tune with the things that you need, more in tune with the things that you want, and more in tune with the life that you actually get to actively participate in. If you've taken anything from my podcast, if you listened to any of these, my biggest message to you is that your life, regardless of external circumstances, your life is 100% up to you. And what I mean by this is we are not all given the same deck of cards. And I know that. I am a mixed female, okay? I am half black, half white. I fully know not all of us have the same cards that we are dealt. That being said, I learned very early on, and I grew up in a household that even though we did not have a lot of money, my dad really, really made sure that me and my sisters knew you can do whatever you want. You just have to decide. And he's a man that believed it, but I think didn't put it into action for himself. And so we learned early on, well, it is completely up to us. We each took it very differently and ran with it, and we live very different lives, but we're all still talked a lot. But we all took that and used it in whatever our way is, right? One of my sisters is a stay-at-home mom, and she is one of the best moms in the world. And she channeled that energy into being an amazing mom, supporting a wonderful household, doing that. My other sister is a quote unquote a bad bee. I don't know if I can swear on here, so I'm not going to. I'm pretty sure I can though. And she works very well. I'm not going to say the company, but she works for a company very well. She works very high up. She has done it for quite some time. Her and her husband are an absolute power couple, and it is wonderful to see. And then you have myself, who very much connects with people and wanting people to see the best in themselves. And I took that as, okay, well, that's something that I want to do, so I'm going to make it happen. And here I am making it happen. And when you realize that what you say to yourself and what you want can go hand in hand, that's how we get there. So start to think about that. How are you making your decisions? Make sure you're making them for the life that you want, not the life that someone else is telling you to have. Things to consider. A couple suggestions I have for us today on ways that we can live more for ourselves through certain tasks or through certain adventures or things. So, a couple of my suggestions. If you start to focus on these things, you will naturally start to connect more with yourself. Some of it will be very obvious. Some of it will not be. But living for movement and focusing on movement in your day, whether that's walking, doing yoga, doing a HIIT workout if that's for you, going for a run, stretching, whatever it is, that in itself brings you back to yourself. It helps connect you with yourself. And it helps you be more in tune with the decisions that are yours and aren't yours, because you are in your head for that movement. You're the only person around, unless you're in a workout class, but still, oftentimes the teachers will tell you to focus on those things. So movement, highly recommend it. Travel. Now it's kind of a weird time to travel, but I'm doing it. I have a flight that I'm catching this evening, so We're going to hope for the best. But travel is good, whether you're a road tripper, whether you like to take the train, whether you like to fly. Go places. Go places you've never been before. Go places you've loved to visit before. Traveling makes you learn who you are, because especially if you travel alone. If you've never traveled alone, I highly recommend it. I didn't start traveling alone until 3 years ago. And once I did, I went, oh, this is great. This is fun. I love it. I understand it now. You just you're put in a place to figure it out. And if you've never been put in a place to figure it out before, you haven't really been pushed to see who you are and what you can do when it's 100% up to you. Working on self-connection, working on connecting with community. So self-connection and connection outside of yourself. Curiosity. This is a big one. Get curious about stuff rather than getting defensive, or rather than being like, no, that's not for me. Get curious. You might learn something about yourself. Live more for peace and for calm. I think we all love to have busy schedules and we love to be out and about and we love to see people, but being able to find your peace is huge, and that helps your nervous system relax in the evening and whatever it may be for you. So peace, fulfillment. That's a big one. A lot of us don't know what that word means because we hear it and we go, oh, another woo-woo person. Well, guess what? The woo-woo people are happy AF because they are connected to themselves. They feel fulfilled, meaning they don't feel like they're wasting their time every day on something that's not their passion or that's not their dream. It means that they're waking up, doing the thing that fills them up, and then going back to bed. And that is probably the goal for a lot of us, is just to feel like we're doing something every day that's good, that's going somewhere, that's making an impact. That's kind of what feeling fulfillment is. Start chasing it a little bit more. These things are achievable. And I think a lot of us are like, oh, it's not for me, or, oh, that's just not in the cards because I've never experienced it before. That's literally what life is. Coming up to new things and experiencing them for the first time. So I don't know what point in society or in our lives where we ran into this wall where we're like, oh no, new things, that's bad. That is literally living life, is experiencing new things. So I hope that this episode has been not really like eye-opening, but like a reminder of how much interaction and how much power you have over your own life, especially when you realize that when you live for yourself, you are so much more in control and you are so much more able to take the opportunities that excite you and to look past the negativity of things that are so blaringly loud sometimes. So just take that into your day to day, whatever your day holds for you, whether you have the day off, whether you are working your little arse off, whatever it is for you, think about these things and try to start shifting your focus back to living for you. And back to parents, you can do this by in turn of living for your kids. And obviously I do not have children, so I cannot tell you how to parent, and I will never try because I will probably be wrong 9 times out of 10. But I've seen a lot of people parent. And my only piece of advice and piece of word for you, I guess, is when you spend time on yourself and for yourself, the way you can show up for your kids is tenfold and so much more powerful, and you'll love it more and they'll love you more, and the interactions will be more overall positive. So that's all I have today. Have a wonderful day. Bring someone light. Love yourself a little harder. Be loud. Stand up for people who deserve it and for people who need you. And love a little more. And we'll have a wonderful day today. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you back soon.